have 120 people here. We give it one more minute before we start. Welcome everybody, and welcome to Development Dialogues with the Crisis Bureau of UNDP. Today we're talking about UNDP's quick response surge mechanisms, particularly how we get the right people at the right place. And as you see it already, we're going to be very innovative today. We have three parts. The first one is the surge puzzle, because we want to make sure that we all understand what these elements are of what we call surge in UNDP. After that, we're going to do some surge. Yes, this is a webinar, but you're going to do something. You're going to make some decisions on what UNDP should be doing in different scenarios. And then thirdly, we're going to have Q&A at the end, but not a normal Q&A, of course. This will be very special. So let us start with the surge puzzle, in which we will present you very quickly, with some guests, of course, some 6 of the elements of the UNDP surge puzzle. And here is one piece. Surge. In an increasingly turbulent world, crisis can erode development gains and progress in a matter of seconds, as you know. And UNDP wants to be there, right? UNDP is an organization that leans into crisis, programmatically and operationally. And for the first 2 pieces of our puzzle, we're going to Craig Castro. Craig, how are you doing? Open your mic, please.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yep, I'm good.
Craig,
thank you.
You are, and that's the first part of the puzzle, you are a surge advisor. And moreover, you are part and parcel, you're member of the Surge Academy. What is it to be a surge advisor? What is that actually?
Okay, so yeah, thank you, Jan Thomas. Yeah, I mean, I was learning since last year when I participated in the Surge workshop, but the Academy and what I'm learning since then is that, you know, it's the initiative from the Crisis Bureau to really strengthen all of us that are working within this, you know, in response to crisis, and strengthening through learning and collaborating and being deployed as well. The workshop is a big part of that, because it's the moment to train us as professionals in the different tools that we have available to respond to a crisis, and also the mechanisms and procedures. I participated in this 2-week workshop last year, I think in November 2019. And so with that, you know, we have the ability to be called upon and to be deployed in a situation. We also have access to the online community where we share information. We get updates from people that are on mission.
We call that the Surge Campus, right? This is where Surge
Yes.
advisors hang out. Just to be clear,
Yeah,
Surge advisors are UNDP staff, right? Craig is a UNDP staff.
Yes.
They are us.
Yeah.
They are UNDP people, and they are trained. Now, Craig, when we trained you a year ago, what then followed was the call. I called you, right? Tell us about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, it was just like the workshop, because in the workshop, we have these scenarios and a case study. And so I was walking home. I got first I got an email from Fabricio saying, would you be able to be deployed to Equatorial Guinea? By the time I was walking home, I was getting a call from Jan Thomas to see if I can get released by my direct supervisor. And this is exactly what we went through during the case study during the workshop. So the call came and I cleared with my supervisor, and by 3 days later I had a ticket and I was on the plane to Equatorial Guinea, where I spent the month of March and early part of April. But this is, what surprised me, or what I found interesting, is that the workshop, the Surge workshop, prepared And it was exactly as we discussed it during the workshop. So once I got in the field, I access to all the colleagues that we talked about in the Surge campus, getting support from the colleagues from around the globe that are part of the Surge Academy. So it was.
Well, the moment you're a Surge advisor, you can have that call. You're pre-released from your office, right? So your res rep and deputy res rep, they know about you being on that roster, and you could be called any moment. And yes, UNDP may be a slow organization, but Surge is absolutely fast. You may have to travel in 3 days, and that's what Craig did. Craig, the end of the story, it's not the end, of course, but you, as a Surge advisor, you actually ended up in Mozambique. Can you quickly, I mean, that was an exciting ride, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, because there was almost at the same time in parallel was the Surge sent a mission, the Crisis Bureau sent a mission to Mozambique to establish a sub-office up in the north of the country. And so while I was in Equatorial Guinea, I was being asked about moving on to Equatorial Guinea after. And so this was-
Mozambique after.
Yeah, sorry,
yes.
Because
Craig speaks Portuguese, of course. I mean, and that was very much an asset for Mozambique. So we had to move him 2 places in one Surge assignment. Thank you so much, Craig. Very nice explanation of 2 pieces of the puzzle, the Surge advisors and the Surge Academy. Can we bring up the puzzle again? Because then we're going to some other pieces here. All right, there is the puzzle. Surge Advisor, Surge Academy. Now we get to the Express Consultants and the Surge Delivery Lab. Express Consultants, Expert Consultants, and these are not staff, consultants, and the Surge Delivery Lab. We do that with Andra. Andra, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, Andra, how are you doing?
I am Andra. I have been a Surge advisor and now I am Express Roster consultant. The very quick definition of Express Roster is a pool of external consultants with varying expertise across the different profiles. So you can have junior expert or senior expert, you may have engineer, or you may have economist or project manager and program manager. What is very important is that these consultants are usually ready to go. They are very rapidly deployable. So you have to prepare a request, terms of reference, and usually the turnaround time is either less than a week or 8 days. The delivery lab is a different mechanism, and this provides immediate short-term country office support either on operations or some bottlenecks on delivery. Provides also some support to implement global solutions, to support networks, and also support innovations and lessons learned which are brought from other country offices.
Thank you, Andra. That's the definition, but let's drill down a bit here, right? We're talking about Express Consultants, UNDP's consultant roster, and you are one proud consultant that works a lot with UNDP. And then we're talking about UNDP Surge Delivery Lab, focusing on operational bottlenecks and delivery bottlenecks. And that brought you to Mali, right? Have you ever been to Mali?
No, I haven't been in Mali.
You haven't been to Mali,
no,
but you did a mission there.
Yes,
Tell us about it.
That was a very challenging mission. I was assigned to Mali to support them remotely since October last year, but due to all the COVID restrictions and the fact that Mali country office was closed, there was no point even to go to Mali because anyway, you cannot meet people. And I was finding different ways and different tools how to support this office remotely. The first step is to do analysis and to have a lot of discussions with people in Mali to find out what is not working, how we can really support them to delivery in a very challenging environment, because besides COVID restrictions, they also had a military coup and they simply didn't have government for quite a long time. Then provide them with potential solutions and recommendations, how I see what has to be done or what tools they can use to improve delivery. And the last step is to support them in implementation, to give this ownership of these solutions back to the country office, ensuring that they are not dropping it as soon as I finalize my mission. Challenging also because I am not French speaker and this is Francophonic Africa.
You did a lot of Google Translate, I'm sure.
I did a lot of Google Translate, indeed. But at the end of the day, the good news is that the country office delivered on October when I started my work with Mali. The delivery was even less than 50%, but we managed to do the job and it was 100% delivered. And also some good news about the delivery lab is that when I'm doing analysis, when I'm seeing what are the needs for the country office, I can engage back with Crisis Bureau, with Delivery Lab, and really engage some additional consultants from the network. This is what we did with Mali. So we are now still working on the digital transition of the country office. There was another consultant, digital expert engaged. And also we provided support to HR because I see that there is a need, but I'm not maybe the best expert in HR. So I go back to Crisis Bureau, to Delivery Lab, and I say, guys, hey, can you please help me and find the best consultant who can assist with strategic HR support? This is what we did. And
so while providing those ideas, you could actually back it up with real people, right? HR people, yes. Digital people. I mean, any of them actually went to Mali, or that surge delivery lab for Mali? Was that completely virtual?
Completely virtual. Completely virtual because none of these experts also have visited Mali. All the meetings, and thanks God to Zoom and Teams, because we also organize that we are regularly meeting with country office management, with necessary groups and other things. We help to get, and I connected both consultants, digital transition consultant and HR consultant, to ensure that all the trainings and all the capacity building in the country is also reflected in the learning plan. So basically these two consultants were even talking to each other to find the one way how to help their country office.
Well, that sounds quite amazing, I have to say. Yes, the feedback from the Mali country office has been great. So the Delivery Lab is using a lot of consultants to leverage that knowledge. Andra, you are a consultant, but we have to admit, of course, you are a retired UNDP employee, right? Our consultants are not just plucked out of thin air. Andra, tell us, you are, and you feel very much, and like you are UNDP, aren't you?
I'm still UNDP. I am still UNDP, but you are right. The roster and delivery labs, they use all varieties of different consultancies and if this consultancy or this expertise is not available in-house, you have different opportunities to find this expertise also from your standby partners. So I am calling this is like a huge library. When you are looking for some particular book, you fill in the card or request, and then librarian is finding necessary literature for you. So the same
a big library of consultants and capacities. Yes. In fact, yes. We have 6,000 people on the roster. And if you think that a consultant's roster indeed is populated with people you don't know, who don't know UNDP, who are specialists in something, but they need to be brought up to speed, that is absolutely not the case. And actually, we have some more examples later on. So here we just one point maybe. We just talked earlier about the surge advisors, and these are the consultants. Both of them extremely important, but you don't use staff for, you use consultants for, right? And you don't use consultants generally what you use staff for. So it gives us a great opportunity to fine-tune what we bring to a country office, right? How we assist with the consultant or with a colleague, a surge advisor. And that's in the second part of this, this event today. You will be experimenting with that yourself. What is the best solution? Thank you so much, Andra. We will hope to hear from your future adventures, also adventures in different countries around the Surge Delivery Lab and being a consultant for UNDP. Let us move to the next pieces of the puzzle. The standby partners and the Surge Data Hub. And we do that with Fabian. Fabian, where are you?
Hello, hi.
Hey, Fabian, welcome to the show. Fabian, our standby partners, how is that different from these consultants that we just talked about?
Yep, we at UNDP, we're having agreements with 9 standby partners to deploy additional capacity to support UNDP country offices operating in crisis situation. And sometimes in need of a boost of capacities. With UNVs, we have special program where we pair in tandem UNV national capacities with global UNDP global expertise to support the country office in tailored manner. I worked very closely with UNVs myself, some embedded in our team, and some under implementation now. In case of Nepal, where excellent and talented deployed experts are using our toolkit and methodology and working with the Surge Data Hub as well as the country office colleagues.
So the standby partners are 9 partners that can actually also provide additional human resources capacities. And just to make a note there, they usually deploy people for a year or so, right? And they pay for it. So this is free capacities for UNDP. And of course, UNV is us, right? UNV is not separate, but we work a lot with UNDP, particularly in the tandem teams where we have UNVs connected often with consultants. Now, Fabian, how are you using that in the Surge Data Hub? Anyway, what's the Surge Data Hub?
Yeah, the Surge Data Hub is a facility that offers end-to-end digital assessments and provides rapid and reliable data to country offices experiences crisis, aftermath of disasters, and through the response and recovery process. Of course, on data to ensure the evidence-based recovery, and UNVs are definitely part of this initiative. We at the Surge Data Hub, we have established a remote support unit, and our remote support unit helps plan to plan, develop and adapt tools for data collection, data management, data analysis and visualization using modern and cutting-edge technologies, and lately working on data storytelling as well. So we support with digital data pipeline by empowering the country office team, experts and consultants, as well as standby partners that are embedded in ourselves in the assessments working group, as we call, being from the very beginning beside the country office colleagues. We made sure that immediate response is ensured, but at the same time use the data to prepare response, policy making and monitoring implementation.
But Fabian, that's a lot of words here. Data analysis, visualization, immediate. I mean, it's hard to believe. But I mean, you did this in Lebanon right after the explosion. Can we get concrete here? What did we do as a data hub in Lebanon? And how did you
definitely. Definitely. You know, the event of aftermath of the disaster and the blast that happened there. And immediate after that explosion, the UNDP started debris and waste management, emergency livelihoods, shelter, psychological counseling, legal assistance for affected communities using a mix of cash for work, emergency employment schemes, and then food security to support the families. And in parallel, we around also started assessments were conducted to understand the impact of the blast off on vulnerable population and the economic aspects.
You really go house to house in Lebanon, or you really do that kind of primary data collection as a Surge Data Hub?
Well, we have done, implemented different things, but in case of Lebanon, we use such a new technique that is called the crowdsourcing, with a semi-structured interview across a spectrum of affected households, businesses, including here informal, micro and small, medium enterprises, workers and key informants, but mainly using Facebook for crowdsourcing information.
Using Facebook to collect data from the
Yes.
actual people affected by the blast.
Absolutely. And of course, the process is new. The methodology is definitely something to be considered, and there is room for improvement. But we validated also this information then while going to those that was selected as a sub group of people that based on the data showed that they are more vulnerable than others and need immediate interaction, let's say, and the support from UNDP. So validating this means that the data served as a baseline and to put some criteria and to identify these communities and these individuals in small, medium enterprises, business led by women, informal businesses that work without insurance and without benefiting any of the support from the government because of informality. And then we started to build on top of this based on the data and transform this data later on for planning and tailoring the support to these families, households.
So even in such dire circumstances, we can still pursue like data and evidence-based decision making as UNDP. Is that correct?
Absolutely. The case of Beirut tells a bit all the story. When I mentioned this pipeline, we definitely implemented the full range of data, from the data collection to the analysis, and put criteria of whom to support first. And then using also this data to monitor our initiative and to understand the effectiveness, and still is going on. The 6 different databases created from our country office alone are put now together, aggregated in a, let's say, structured and well-defined data source that is informing stakeholders, the UNDP management, but also other organizations, NGOs that are accessing this valuable information, not only to understand the impact, but also to tailor the response and recovery mechanisms.
That sounds great. I mean, in fact, the widest application of the Surge Data Hub was found in COVID times, right? Can you quickly allude to that? How did that pan out?
Yes, we at the beginning of the country support management team were focusing specifically to household building damage assessment, one of our main assessments we do. But with the COVID outbreak in April 2020, we started to look after the social economic impact assessment. And countries were demanding how to conduct those assessments in certain circumstances that we couldn't visit houses and talk to people. So we used a very mixed methods of running those assessments, sometimes with call centers, sometimes with automated call phones machines. SMEs and short texts back and forth with people using also this instant messaging like chatbot like techniques, and also other techniques, let's say. So country offices face problems on having the capacities immediately there without going through a recruitment process and procuring a process or having consultants. They immediately could have us on board on sampling design, dealing with some statistical issues that normal, let's say, specialists are not very familiar to this mathematical stuff. And
now, how many countries are we covering at the moment with these socioeconomic impact assessments for COVID?
From April, we have more than 46 countries, and 20 are active countries that are, most of them, in the second round of running the social economic impact assessment.
Well, that is a great facility for UNDP. So the Crisis Bureau can give you that assistance in a second, because no recruitment is needed. Of course, we build on capacities in country. We're talking to our colleagues in PAP who have a great capacity, actually, but that damage in Gaza, We need to find, or we need to get our hands on it, right? How bad is it? How long does it take to recover? What's the price of all that? And that's also where this kind of data, Surge Data Hub, will come in very handy. So thank you so much, Fabian. Let's bring up the puzzle and see if we have covered most. Look, Surge advisors, expert consultants, standby partners, the Surge Academy, the Surge Delivery Lab, and the Surge Data Hub. Now, you see a circle at the bottom left, right? That left bottom. Those are a couple of documents, extraordinarily important documents. We're not going through that today. Those are the SOPs, the standard operating procedures for immediate crisis response, surge planning, what is surge planning, and the crisis response packages. So the surge in total will give you people, initiatives, and guidance. And it's all brought together by the Crisis Bureau, particularly by this, the country support management team. Now, this is the puzzle. And now you know the basics. And in, let's say, 20 minutes, we will drop this one in the in the chat, right? So you can have it, but not yet, because we need to test first if we learned something. So this is the second part where we're actually going to do Surge. And this goes with a poll. So look at this. Here is a scenario. I'm going to read it for you. And then we're going to do a poll, and you make a decision on what you want to use as a surge mechanism. And after that, in this particular case, we talk to Andrew Russell. So listen, here is the scenario. This is the scenario about rapidly increasing delivery needs. The delivery target of the UNDP Everywhere Country Office in 2021 is the largest it has ever had. The pressure is on. The country is also reeling from the impact of COVID. Recently, a long simmering conflict in its southern province flared up, requiring massive procurement as part of UNDP's early recovery response. The country often needs to rethink its business model. It needs a review of the current operational capacities and a roadmap towards enhancing those capacities. Now, what is the question here? Can we bring up the poll? Which surge initiative is most relevant for the UNDP Everywhere Country Office? Yes, please, ladies and gentlemen, give it to me. This is 30 seconds. Yes, 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 we're going to 62. Everybody can choose here. There is a surge delivery lab, the surge delivery hub seems to be ahead of the game, but some also say the Surge Academy, and some think that the Surge Data Hub is the most appropriate tool in this particular case. Oh, have we all voted? It seems to me we have all voted. All right, we have the Surge Delivery Hub being selected by most people, 76%. And then some people think Surge Data Hub and some think the Surge Academy. Of course, there's never a wrong answer, right? It's a matter of discussion and a matter of selection. Andrew.
Hi there.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Last time we chatted, we said we should talk, but I didn't ask you to bring 200 people with you. I mean, this is very public. We cannot have a chat here. This is too formal. But anyway, Andrew, with such delivery challenges and procurement demands up under an early recovery program, we do look at the Surge Delivery Hub usually, right?
You mean the Surge Delivery Lab, right?
Yeah, oh, I'm reading from the screen. It's mistyped there. The Surge Delivery Lab. I mean, of all people that you should be correcting me here, but the Surge Delivery Lab, of course.
Absolutely, yes.
What does the Surge Delivery Lab do in your experience? Because you're one of them, right?
Yeah, no, and I'm very happy to join it. It's a wonderful approach. It's an integrated, holistic approach. As Andrew said earlier, it's focused on the short term and on particularly on delivery bottlenecks. And in this particular case, in this particular country, it's an amazing, an important opportunity for the country office to grow, and yet they're really, really struggling to try and figure out why is it that they haven't been able to expand their delivery yet.
Well, in UNDP, we have a lot of attention always to the programmatic side of things, right? What shall we do now? Shall we do early recovery? Shall we do stabilization? Shall we do this and that? And then the discussion on operational capacities and how to do big procurement, for example, is usually somewhat in the background, right? How do you look at that balance? And when you went to Azerbaijan, let's call a country by a name. When you went to Azerbaijan, how did that pan out? Was there indeed more, is there always more attention to program vis-a-vis operation? And how would you tackle such a thing? How did you tackle such a thing?
Well, I think that tension always exists. I think the only way around it is to just engage with everybody. It's everybody's problem. Everybody is part of the problem. Everybody is part of the solution. And just to say that, what was wonderful about this engagement is that it fits inside of a broader framework agreement that Surge Delivery Lab has with the office. And so I'm just one part of a broader effort that's focused on speeding up procurement, speeding up recruitment, looking at digitalization, looking at planning, et cetera, direct support. And then what we did, and here I was part of a team of 5. So for me, it's a luxury to work with a team of 5, three from the Crisis Bureau and another consultant myself. And what we did, I think what I really want to emphasize here is the importance of looking at this from a systemic point of view. So we really brought in a lot of attention to encouraging all of the staff to work with us in a very participatory way, but really applying systems thinking so that we avoid this situation where one group is blaming another group, and that everybody understands that they have a role to play in tackling this problem, and that it's really, it's not about, okay, yeah, we just have to go and fix procurement or something like that, but that really it's much more complex than that. We have to look at the relationships between the different parts within the country office and try and solve this riddle of, okay, what's going wrong here? Why can't we get this thing moving faster?
And you believe in Azerbaijan, what you're currently doing, that they will be able to lift themselves to that next level and really, those promises to donors that we made on recovery in Azerbaijan, you believe that through this methodology, we can really get them up to speed?
Well, I think the methodology has worked so far. I think, what we've got is we've got some drastically simplified procedures that we're sharing, we're developing and sharing. And then I think, together with the staff and senior management, we've been able to identify very clearly, and it's not just about operations. We've come up with recommendations to strengthen functional capacities across the board, because it is, an issue that requires project, program, operations working together more smoothly. And then the final piece in the sort of the package of solutions that we're putting together is a little bit of extra additional support to some folks to come in. We're going to have to recruit some new people, so we want to do that fast. So we need to get some HR support in there, human resources. Apologies for the acronym, and also basically launch a new service delivery tracking function within the country office. Because if you're not tracking it, it's much more difficult to know what the heck is going on. And so what we want to try and help them to do very quickly is get that
for operational actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that sounds great indeed. Andrew, you're also a consultant, right? Talking about Express Roster.
Oh yes. I am, yes.
Another consultant that actually thinks he's UNDP, and we treat them as UNDP, of course. Andrew, as well as Andra, are on our consultants roster, and they are UNDP, and that's the good thing. I mean, the delivery lab not only provides this kind of strategic assistance, but we can also just do workload, huh? if 5 or 10 recruitments are pending in a country office, we can also tackle those by bringing an HR advisor tomorrow who can just do the, you know, the interview, the this, the that, the that. If country office are really stuck on a backlog of workload, the Surge Delivery Lab can also bring him forward there. Of course, it then also comes with some tips on how to not get back into that situation again, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a very good answer, and 3/4 of you got it. We want to go to the next scenario, which I will be reading for you. I still see the poll on my screen. Can you get that one down, or do I need to do that myself? I need to do that myself. All right, here is the second scenario. Protracted crisis from bad to worse. The situation in somewhere has been unstable for years. Chronic underdevelopment, poverty, dilapidated infrastructure, lack of economic opportunity, frequent climate shocks, disease outbreaks, the works. It took a turn for the worse recently when armed conflict flared up in the northern part of somewhere, forcing scores of families to flee the area. The country office is requesting support. 1, immediate response to cater for the influx of IDPs, and 2, setting up a longer-term plan to support enduring peace, stability, and creating conditions for development. After the poll, which come up now, we will talk to Wanjiru. And here is the poll. Who do we need to deploy, ladies and gentlemen? Are these Surge advisors, express consultants, or standby partners? And the clock is ticking, ladies and gentlemen, all polling. I see 188 participants, so we want 188 answers here. Come on, Surge advisors is ahead. This looks like a job for Surge advisors, but express consultants could do well. We almost see them coming back up. This is a, we're getting there, 120 votes. It's still the Surge advisors for 3/4 that people believe will do this trick. Very good. I think we're good. Now, we already said that finding the right balance. So we sent a consultant or a UNDP staff. That is a very fine line sometimes, and that's an important decision we want to make. And you made it here. You think this particular situation calls for Surge advisors. Wanjiru, where are you? Open your mic. You're a Surge advisor, right?
Yes, I am.
There you go. And what do you think Surge advisors do that generally consultants don't?
So, hi everyone. I think the most compelling comparative advantage for a Surge advisor here, in my view, is really the ability to be able to draw on on the teams inside the United Nations, the teams that have been set up by CRU. As you see, this context is quite a complex situation, and it needs different types of expertise, which is easy to pull together from within UNDP Surge advisor pools. So in my recent experience in Mozambique, it was a similar experience, and we were able to be assigned very quickly a team of 9
these were all UNDP colleagues, in fact, going to Mozambique.
Exactly. And with
how many were you, if I may?
We were 8 on the ground and 9 supporting, who worked with me on resource mobilization and partnerships.
8 people going to Mozambique, all UNDP staff. What did you do and what did you produce there?
So the issue was to address the crisis situation in Cabo Delgado, and the team actually needed very diverse expertise. We had experts on stabilization, socioeconomic recovery, operations, communications, security, gender, and I was, as I mentioned, partnerships and resource mobilization. So it was a very complex situation and needed rapid addressing. So we were able to look into this issue, and I feel this really helped because we were able to jump onto the issue immediately, Of course, one of the critical issues is good leadership. So we needed a good and had a good leader that in Abubakar who was able to bring together the different teams and expertise and be able to actually look at the issues and address them. So one of the good things about being able also to travel, it also, because we have like the travel documents, the laser passage makes it easy to travel in this complex.
In fact, in Mozambique, we had to send surge advisors, ladies and gentlemen, because the country would not issue visas for consultants, right? So that's why we quickly brought together a team of fully of surge advisor, and Wanjiru was the resource mobilization person. Now, Wanjiru, after 1 month, what were we looking at and what did we approve? What was the result of your mission?
So the results is that we developed a business case for opening a new office for UNDP in Cabo Delgado in Pemba. So this has been approved. The office is already, and the recommendations of the business case is being implemented under the leadership of Craig, who spoke at the beginning of this session. So this is moving forward, and we were able to achieve a lot because we were a team. As I said, I think the most compelling and comparative advantage for these surge advisors is being able to bring different teams. And it's not just the 9 of us, but like myself, I was also drawing on my team in the external relations, which is a team of partnership advisors working with governments, working with IFIs, working with philanthropic partners. So I was able to draw not only on my own expertise, but also on the team of experts.
Surge advisor is never alone, right? You come with a whole lot of other people, and you can call, you can check, you can look at the surge campus, you can tap in your own team, and that is different from consultants. And I'm not saying that Andrew and Andra are very much UNDP type of consultants, right? But some of our consultants are not so versed in UNDP, and they would not be able to barge into the Mozambique country office and have a good strategic discussion about the mandate of UNDP, right? And that's what Wanjiru did with her surge team in Mozambique, producing a surge plan. That was, I mean, it was quite an uplifting experience. Wanjiru, you told me about going to Northeast Mozambique, even meeting people that you can talk to in your own language, right? I was amazed.
Yeah, that's a very, I think one of the big impacts, to be able to bring the human factor, going on the ground, being able to go to the field visits and meeting the IDPs, the internally displaced persons, speaking to them. And that really brings in the urgency, the need for urgency and speed in our response, because you actually see the needs and face them directly. You're able to identify and connect to the people. For example, some of the people spoke Swahili. I was able to speak with them. So it feels like you're dealing with family, and it just emphasizes the need to really move quickly and bring in all the different parts that need to come together. And that really, in my view, strengthened the importance of working together with and connecting to all the partners, including with the country office. For example, in my own area, field of work, which I can speak to best, we were able to identify existing donor partners that are already working with the country office, whose priorities could align with the objectives of the new business case. So how do we work with them? With that, we have to really look at this very keenly to ensure that we are building on what's working and not just interfering or bringing conflicts. In addition, we are also able to identify through the donor mapping with support again with partners, my partners working on partnerships at the headquarters. So we were able to identify new partners who are very highly invested in Mozambique, working with other partners, but not working with us in the past. So there's new opportunities that we saw there. And I just felt this could not have been done without being in the context of a partnership.
That is also one of the warnings, I suppose, with virtual missions, right? Speaking Swahili in northeastern Mozambique, you would never have done if you would have gone on a virtual mission. So we are losing something there, although we are getting used to it and becoming very powerful operators also when working remotely. Thanks so much, Wanjiru, on the situation in northeastern Mozambique and on the value of surge advisors. sometimes you need a UNDP staff and you can't do with consultants. Scenario 3.
Thank you.
Oh, I know this one. Explosion at military barracks. A series of explosions took place at a military base in a big city far away outside the capital of elsewhere. The blast happened in an urban area, killed 31 people and injured more than 600, inflicting heavy damage to buildings and businesses. Officials blame badly stored explosives along with stubble burning by farmers as the cause. The country office needs to take stock of the impact of the blast on people, buildings, and infrastructure, and support the government at different levels with the design of a recovery plan. After the poll, we're talking to Camilla. The poll. Which surge initiative is most relevant for UNDP Elsewhere country office? The Surge Academy, the Surge Data Hub, or the Surge Delivery Lab? Please get this right, ladies and gentlemen. This is your last chance to get it right, particularly for those who got it wrong so far. I don't think anybody got it wrong so far, but we're at 73 of 188. The Surge Data Hub looks like a favorite in this regard. Although some people think the Delivery Lab could be helpful, or the Academy. Okay, we're still polling. We're at 120 of 188. Ladies and gentlemen, make use of this opportunity and test your knowledge. All right, I think we have a winner here. And very correctly so. The Surge Data Hub can help in these types of situations, and it actually has helped in this kind of situations. Camila, where are you? Oh, hey, this is not Camila, this is Anila. So let us first listen to a little clip, actually from the site of the explosion.
We are a few meters away from ground zero, where a series of 4 explosions occurred at the military barracks in the neighborhood of Quantoma, in the city of Bata, the largest city and the economic capital of Equatorial Guinea. We are implementing an HPDA, a household and building damage assessment, to inform early recovery measures and decision-making on the part of the government and other international agencies, in collaboration with the local university, UNVs, and the mayor's office.
That was Anila from our Surge Data Hub at Ground Zero, because she traveled there actually. Camila, why is the Surge Data Hub exactly the type of instrument that is and was so useful for Equatorial Guinea when all this happened?
Yes, hello, thank you for that. Hello, everyone. So why was the Surge Data Hub particularly relevant in this case and similar scenarios? So a crisis occurs. In this case, it was an explosion, military barrack, and there is an impact. There's an impact on people, on infrastructure, and in consequence, a need to respond. So what happens when there's a need to respond? You have to set up some programs and strategize on how you will proceed with responding to the crisis. And so the questions of how do we respond, where and to what extent come up. And this is where the Surge Data Hub comes in to provide support to country offices to implement assessments that will allow to address these information gaps and needs that country offices and beyond have to be able to respond to a particular crisis.
Now, would the country office in Equatorial Guinea, as far as you can see, would they have been able to do this alone, the way they were and are configured?
No, they wouldn't. So we worked very closely with the country office, but what we did is help roll out the housing and building damage assessment, which is a toolkit that was developed by the Surge Data Hub, and that is implemented in these type of scenarios where there's a significant impact on not only people, but also housing, infrastructure, and so on. And so it's By toolkit, we mean a series of a methodology combined with a questionnaire, question bank, and a series of step-by-step protocols on how to implement this assessment in a way that takes into account the information needs of the country office, but also is adapted to the particular context. So what the Surge Data Hub did here is help the CO in taking this toolkit and adapting it to the particular context. And there are many steps through the implementation of the HPDA that start with a rapid context evaluation, where we look at what is feasible, if it's feasible, who the other stakeholders are in country, other potential assessments that are being conducted by other agencies. So it starts with this, and it ends with reports where we all the analysis of the data that was collected through primary data collection on the ground is outlined. And the Search Data Hub provides support through every single step of the rollout of the HPDA.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, in fact, when we were called by the country office, I mean, Equatorial Guinea, you know, is not a huge country, and also our office is not that big. And this disaster actually happened in another city, right? Not in the capital. So actually, our res rep there, she told us that, you know, I don't even have a person there. And thanks to some of the surge mechanisms, also flying in just 1 or 2 people quickly, but having a lot of backup from people based all over the world, we actually could have a presence. We could be on the ground. And I think we also trained quite a few people, no, on all these methodologies, Camila.
Yes, exactly. So the whole, one of the key features of the HPDA is that we work with a series of partners that come in through different steps of the assessment and provide their technical expertise. So for data collection, for example, because the HPDA is an assessment that is focused on infrastructure and buildings, we need to work with people who have civil engineering backgrounds that are able to look at a building and assess the level of damage to different parts of the building and overall. So in the case of Equatorial Guinea, the country office and facilitated by the Search Data Hub worked with the university in the Bata and the civil engineering departments. We also worked with Engineers Without Borders to define some parts of the assessment of the questionnaire, some very technical components of it. Also worked with UNVs as well in this case. And throughout, because the students from the university were the ones who actually went to the field to collect the data. There was a lot of training that was conducted to prepare and the rollout of the assessment.
Well, thanks very much, Camila. That was a very telling story about how the Surge Data Hub is sometimes the right answer to your poll, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, having gone through the Surge puzzle, which I believe now we can bring up in the chat, so you can have that on the side. It's actually a catalog of Surge opportunities for you in country offices and for us as UNDP. It gives a full overview of all the Surge capacities that we can unleash for you at any time. Secondly, we also practiced, right? We saw that for some situation, some of the tools are better than others. And I think your 80%, 85% scoring rates are really great for beginners. So we're getting there. These are important decisions, what to deploy, when to deploy, and how fast we can deploy. Finally, we have come to the Q&A. And as I said, this is not a normal Q&A. Normally, the Qs are asked by the people in the room, and then the A's are given by the gurus, right? Today, we're going to do it differently. Bring up the slide. We're going to have the gurus ask the question and then answer them. Over to Asako.
Hello, everyone. I hope you find this session on the Crisis Bureau's deployment capacities insightful. As highlighted in the presentations, Surge advisors are trusted, experienced, and crisis-ready UNDP staff that can be deployed rapidly in the aftermath of a crisis to boost country office needs. So here's a question for you. For UNDP staff attending this session, how can they apply to become surge advisors? Can you guide us on the steps? Thanks.
Very good question from Asako. Who is going to answer that one?
I may take
Polixenia,
that
the head
one.
of the Surge Academy.
Thank you for the question, Asako, and thank you everyone for joining in such large numbers. We are humbled by your participation. We are always in the lookout for new surge advisors, top-notch UNDP crisis professionals to support country offices in crisis. For the moment, you've already know what the Surge Academy does. The Surge Academy trains, but also creates a network of crisis professionals, and it also offers opportunities for deployment. We are a small community, 300 of surge advisors currently, but we're expanding. We already had 2 surge induction trainings this year where we trained more than 60 UNDP staff, and we're planning to have 2 more trainings in the second half of the year. You get trained, then you are matched, your skills, your knowledge, your attitudes are matched with deployments, and you are being sent to country offices to support crisis. We are very proud to say that 30% of the surge advisors that have been recently trained are already supporting crises such as the Mozambique one, India, Myanmar, Equatorial Guinea, and what's coming up now in POP. So you are being trained and you're being deployed. How can you access this, this pool? You have the link in the chat. There's an application. You submit your application, you upload your CV, a few letters of recommendation, and we are going to review your CV together with the technical teams in the Crisis Bureau. And if your application is successful, you're going to be invited for training. For the current moment, UNDP staff with a minimum of 5 years of experience and a fixed term contract. I see already a question in the chat about service contracts can apply for this. However, with the new modality, it's not called IPSA, it's called NPSA, right? NPSA. With the new NPSA modality, UNDP former service contract holders, now NPSA contract holders, can apply for the surge roster. So you have the link in the chat. Yes, UNV can also apply for the roster. We're one big family.
Thank you, Polixenia. Let's go to question 2. I saw Hao Liang there.
Hi everyone, I hope you've had a good session on UNDP's deployment capacities after crises and disasters. And we at UNDP's Global Policy Network are always thinking how we can better use data to support our country offices to respond to crises and emergencies. So in that context, how is UNDP's Surge Data Hub helping country offices to access this expertise and capacities, and how can our country offices access this database for your purposes?
Good question on data here from Hao Liang. Who can I give the floor?
Yes, thanks a lot for that question. So how can country offices work with the Search Data Hub to leverage the expertise we have? So as mentioned, the Search Data Hub has a series of toolkits that are already pre-built that are adaptable to different contexts. And these toolkits include methodologies and provide support on how to roll out assessments and how to use data to inform decision-making. We also have a team of experts with different skill sets that complement each other in order to be able to run a full assessment cycle. And we also have the Search Data Hubs partnerships, both internal with other UNDP technical teams and external with partners who specialize in assessments in crisis settings that we work with also to increase capacity at the Surge Data Hub level. In terms of engagements with country offices, so there's different scenarios that can be rolled out. In some cases, like the Equatorial Guinea, there will be a full deployment from someone from the Search Data Hub, like you saw our colleague Anila. But in many other cases, what will happen is that we'll intervene in different parts of an assessment to provide support on specific questions that the country office may have, be it developing the questionnaire or conducting analysis or designing, helping with a work plan for data collection and so on. So we really have a team that's ready to guide, advise, and review through assessments as needed.
But do you have a telephone number, Camila?
Sorry?
I mean, for the data hub. How do we get in touch with the data hub?
Oh, so we have, yes, we have, so there is the Search Data Hub team space, which I believe the link has been shared in the chat. Yes. So there's a whole community. If you're interested, you can join. And through this community, you have access to all the tools and so on that could be useful.
Every one of these services is powered by a strong community that you can be a member of. And you can enjoy the benefits of exchanging, learning on a day-to-day basis. We go to the final question that comes from Noura, our Deputy Director in the Regional Bureau for Africa.
Hello, everyone. In the Sahel, we are looking for top-notch civil engineers for our new stabilization program in the Liptako-Gourma region, the area in between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. The Express roster is providing this expertise through its pool of consultants in different areas. Now, how can a consultant apply to the Express roster? And what kind of expertise, what kind of background are we looking for?
Another excellent question, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go for the gallery view and see who's going to answer this one.
I'm happy to answer that one, Jan Thomas. Hello, everyone.
Diana.
My name is Deanna Kidd. I'm a communications analyst working with the UNDP Express roster, and I'm happy to answer that question. So to Nora and anyone else on this call wondering how we add expertise to the Express roster to meet the needs of country offices and regions like the Sahel, I'm happy to share that we have a continuous rolling admission type of model. It's as simple as filling out an online application. If you're interested in joining, you can use the link that I just shared in the chat below and apply to join the Express roster. Once you've been vetted and added to the roster, you are instantly in the running for any open positions, and you will be contacted if and when a match is made. And the second part of Nora's question was what expertise we genuinely look for. And I can say that the Express roster has a wide range of knowledge domains that are accepted, and they even go beyond crisis. So we have 30 profiles and 182 sub-profiles that you can apply under. They range from nature, climate, and energy to conflict prevention and peace building, even SDG finance. We begin accepting at the P3 level, which typically correlates to a master's degree and 5+ years of experience. Finally, I'd like to just say that if you'd like to learn more about the roster and discover stories from the field, go ahead and follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Links are also in the chat. So thanks, everyone.
Well, that's the way to get to the Surge Express roster. Indeed, a crisis roster, but also for non-crisis topic. Actually, it's the roster of the GPN of UNDP. Ladies and gentlemen, we've unpuzzled the puzzle. We have practiced what is Surge, what mechanisms to use, and we have gone through the Q&A. Of course, that was not a real Q&A, and we have time for some real Qs and real As, but let's not make it messy. We have a few questions that we can answer, but make them very, very crispy. I cannot look at the chat. You have to open your microphone and say, hi, Jan Thomas, I have a question. Oh, no question?
Jan Thomas, I have one question, Jan Thomas, with regard to, with regard to the expertise what we have at the moment in different country offices with regard to the engineering capacities. A lot of expertise is there in the crisis settings. A lot of engineers are there. There are best practices, but there's no platform actually to bring them together to exchange these best practices and also to exchange their expertise. In some cases, I think we can also actually pick up some of these people who have been doing a lot of work when it comes to the engineering part. Infrastructure component, I think there's a bit of a gap as of now when I see the crisis response packages and also the portal, and also there is no platform actually to share this kind of information what we have at this point of time. And also realizing that we invest almost $4.3 billion into the infrastructure component, especially most of it goes into the crisis settings. So I think it's time to think on that. I just want to flag that.
You're very right, Kumar. I mean, infrastructure is a major component of what we do, and it requires a lot of specialized expertise. In fact, we do have more than we think. I mean, the other day we scrambled to find some names that were requested, and within a couple of days, we had 25 names of experienced engineers who actually have worked with UNDP, and among them, many, many women, in fact. So this is on our radar screen, and Luca Renda, the team in the Crisis Bureau, is. I was looking to see if Luca is in the room, because it would be better answered by him. Otherwise, we will answer that one in another. Luca, are you there in any way? I cannot distinguish you among the 170 participants at this moment, or anybody else from that team, because we do have plans to dive into this. A network of engineers in UNDP would be absolutely valuable. Anybody?
Yeah, let me also answer that question, and Thomas.
Oh, you want to answer your own question? That's great.
Yeah, right now, because I'm also working with Luca's team and also working with the 3 engineers from the Engineers Without Borders. What we are trying to do is with Samik Day and Rahul, we are trying to scout as many people as possible with regard to the engineering capacity there in the country offices, and also trying to come up with an infrastructure offer at this point of time. So that could, to some extent, help
That's a wonderful initiative and highly overdue. And I believe in the Surge Academy and in some of our other places, we would have some tips for you on how to create community, right? How to bring people together, how to make them feel at home in their specialization, and also maybe how to connect it with deployment.
Problem in Thomas, the engineering capacity lies in kind of a different fields. Right from peace building to the rule of law to the environment, DRR, and the livelihoods and economic recovery in different kind of in different in kind of a spectrum of specializations. It is very difficult to actually to source out the expertise there, because they lie or camouflaged under different headings, and that's a struggle I think at the moment we are having. If we have to go for kind of an atlas or the data what we have at this point of time. So
Kumar, let's talk offline also. In my experience, one thing better than not having a community is having a small community. So start with what we have. If we have 25 people around the table to talk about engineering in UNDP, I think we have a big step forward. And we don't need 400 people immediately. So step-by-step approach sometimes helps. Thanks, Kumar. This is a very wonderful addition, because I can just see another roster component and another academy coming in right there for the engineering capacity of UNDP. Is there anybody else who has a different question? And that would be the last one for today, I think.
May I jump in, Jan Thomas?
Erkenbach.
Erkenbach speaking. Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, my question is related to boosting delivery capacity, because this is something which quite unique for many countries. How we can do it quickly, and if it is the only crisis in the country. Thank you. Over.
Well, let me pass that question to Sean McDay, who is the manager of our delivery lab.
Hi, Arkenberg. Great to see you over here. And hi, colleagues. Very quickly, I think our friends Andra and Andrew had sort of dived a little bit into this issue, right? Where the Surge Delivery Lab is attempting to assist country offices address delivery challenges and operational bottlenecks. So as you know, one of the big challenges in UNDP is we don't look at operations in a 360 manner, right? We look at it in a very piecemeal manner. There's an HR bottleneck or there's a procurement bottleneck. But the reality is all of these challenges cumulatively cause that kind of holistic bottleneck for country offices to meet its delivery targets. And all of you working in country offices know when it comes to September, October, oh no, 40% delivery, 50% delivery, what should we do now, right? And this is a cyclical problem. So the idea is to engage the delivery lab, identify these bottlenecks, and then engage specialists from our Express roster, from the Surge community, and try and address all of these operational challenges in a 360 manner so that these cyclical problems are addressed and country offices can meet the delivery targets on a regular basis. I believe colleagues have shared some of the resources on the chat, including perhaps if they can share the SharePoint page for the delivery lab, which folks can then access and then connect with us if their country office could use the services of the delivery lab. I'll leave it at that. Over.
Thanks so much, Shaumik. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at the end of our session. We're getting some feedback there that even Adam Rogers, again, one of our Express consultants, had learned something today. Adam, what was that?
I particularly learned the difference between the Surge Academy and the Surge the Data Hub about the training opportunities. So I think that even if an Express consultant or a Surge advisor has expertise in one area, through the Surge Academy, you can actually expand that expertise and enter into other profiles of providing crisis assistance through the Surge mechanism. It's amazing. You guys are
Thanks for the feedback, Adam, and I'm glad we all learned something today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. In good tradition, actually, whenever I chair a webinar, at the end, we all open our cameras and we all say hi to one another, however messy it becomes. So please, open your camera, open your mic, say hi to a friend.